Hello, this is New Vision TV. I'm Lynn Komjisha. Although Nelson Mandela died December 5th, 4 years ago, his relationship with Uganda will not be forgotten soon because many of South Africa's emerging and current leaders underwent an important formative phase of their careers in Uganda. New Vision TV traces some of Mandela's links with the people and the Republic of Uganda.
Soon after his release from prison in 1990, Nelson Mandela visited Uganda, leading many to wonder what it was that made Uganda that special. Unknown to many, when Mandela was made the head of Mukhoto Wesiziwe, the ANC army, in the early 60s, he needed friendly African countries to help with military training. He traveled to Ethiopia for his own training. During those years, before his capture and being put away for 27 years, Mandela was traveling on a Ugandan passport, at least as one of the travel documents used. Ugandan intermediaries also helped channel military assistance from Egypt to the ANC. In the 80s, as the struggle against apartheid intensified, racist South Africa harassed the frontline states so much that there was no place for ANC to travel or operate anymore. With bombing raids in all neighboring countries and Mozambican President Samora Machel being killed in suspicious circumstances, it looked like ANC was going to be wiped out. The ANC then, led by Oliver Tambo, turned to the Uganda government of Yoweri Museveni in Uganda for assistance. Museveni did not disappoint. From 1989 until South Africa attained independence, the ANC fighters and cadres were all trained in Kaweweta, the NRA's former training camp in the Luwero Triangle. As President Jacob Zuma was to affirm later, many of the current leaders and officials of the South African government had their first military training in Uganda. South Africa has actually seen to the upgrading of Kaweweta camp into a real leadership institute, and President Zuma commissioned it recently. In his time after leaving prison, Mandela visited Uganda a number of times and also met President Museveni outside Uganda. In Uganda, where the country's main stadium is named after him, most people who met Nelson Mandela were struck by his humility. Veteran leaders, officials and other Ugandans lucky enough to meet Mandela mostly remember the air of humility around the great man. Many remember when President Museveni wanted to introduce the great man to the infant king of Toro at Kololo public function, but young Oyo was busy playing behind the VIP tent. Mandela humbly waited for Oyo to finish playing his games to greet him. On his first visit to Uganda soon after leaving prison, Mandela acknowledged Uganda's contribution to the ANC struggle in his speech thus: "Dear friends, thank you for everything you did to secure our release. The fact that we are here today and will have the possibility to participate in the process leading to the emancipation of our people is a result of your relentless efforts to break down the South African walls so that we could be free." Mandela passed on 4 years ago, 10 days short of the anniversary of the founding of Mukhoto Wesiziwe. Uganda played a major role in the developing of that army. Ugandans hopefully will continue to draw inspiration from the memory of the deeds and philosophies of their great friend Nelson Mandela. Sounds the call to come together.
Moving on, a city businessman was brutally murdered by assailants suspected to have raided his home in Shireka, a Kampala suburb, along Ginger Road. Ivan Karungi Chirumira, the young brother to Godfrey Chirumira, a prominent Kampala businessman, has been working with Baggery Trading Company owned by the city tycoon. Police spokesperson Emilian Kaima confirmed Karungi's death, which occurred at around 3:30 a.m. in the wee hours of Sunday. Kaima says the deceased was hit with a sharp object while he slept. According to Kaima, two people he identified as Ivan Mukisa and Derika Telega have since been arrested in connection to this murder after finding them in possession of some items which belonged to the deceased. In sports news, defending champion Maurice Ashaba is expected to be among a strong field of over 200 competitors as the 8th edition of the annual Kenya Golf Day Championship at Chitante on December 8th. Addressing a press conference during the tournament launch at Chitante, tournament director Anthony Agaba said the tournament is held in Uganda to enable Ugandans celebrate Kenya's independence with their Kenyan brothers in the spirit of East Africa's integration. Uganda Golf Club captain Joseph Bagabo added that the tournament is also used to cement the two countries' business and tourism sectors. You're still watching New Vision TV, and now for Pearl of Africa series, we take a look at SEMPAYA Hot Springs. SEMPAYA Hot Springs, commonly known as the Semliki Hot Springs, are found in Semliki National Park. The rate at which these hot springs boil up is more than that of the Chitagata Hot Springs. Unlike Chitagata Hot Springs, where many people enjoy a cold bath, one cannot do the same here, but rather cook food. Take a look.
SEMPAYA Hot Springs are located in Bwamba County, one of the remote parts of Bundibujo district in western Uganda. The hot springs are located in two places, where one is referred to as the male and the other is the female. The male spring is known as Bitente, while the female spring is called Nyansimbi, which means the female ancestors. It is said to boil up to 103 degrees Celsius. The water is always bubbling up because of the high temperature, and people cook food from it. These eggs getting ready to be eaten are some of the kind of foods that are cooked here. Now for more Pearl of Africa stories, visit www.newvision.co.ug. Our newspaper, The Sunday Vision, is also another home of adventures, so grab your copy every Sunday for more Pearl of Africa stories. Some people say
And that's all we had for you. Thank you for watching. Be sure to catch more of your updates on your mobile, on your desktop, on your tablet, anywhere on the go by visiting www.newvision.co.ug. I'm Lynn Komjisha.